Hi, Fraser.
We are again challenging to expose what you've called one of your more prolific series, if not the most prolific, the Mosiac series. The introduction of the video referred to actualizing your life through art. In other words, showing your journey through the medium of your paintings. Talk to me about how they do represent your life journey.
Wow, quite the question. As I've said before, when I decided I wanted to become a painter, I went in, shall we say, the back door, or I'm not sure, but not from outside in, but from inside myself out.
Okay.
So all of my work is based on that premise, and the whimsical series was the first.
Right.
And it took about 5 years for the incubation to really come out. And then the same thing happened, similarly anyways, with what I did call my puzzles for many years. They were puzzles to me. And I realized that when I looked at the themes of each one being done, I was getting a reflection of, oh, this represents such and such in my real life.
Interesting. Did that reflection come, well, obviously not before because nothing existed before, but
Right.
during, or did the reflection come during the process or after the process of the work?
Pretty much after the process.
So it was subconsciously, you didn't really know what you were doing. You were allowing it to manifest in itself through you on the board or on the canvas, and
Yes.
realizing after this is that.
Yes, and sometimes it took, maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years after the piece was done. And, I went back over some of my past, which I had been working through in real life. An example would be one that's sitting on the wall right now, Egyptian celebration. And I had married a man from Egypt, from Alexandria, Egypt, a long time ago, and 2 or 3 years later, out came this piece, and that's what I called it. And at first I looked at it and I loved it. I loved the design that I came up with, and but I didn't know why I had done it exactly. And then over time, what I usually do is I put a painting away. Almost immediately it's finished. And I'll bring it out later, whether it's 2 months, 3 months, a year, 2 years. And I get a very clear perspective, it seems, on, that really does represent Egypt to me. The colors, the shapes, that kind of thing. So, so that's how they developed, and I did many while I was, they pretty much started in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And they just kept coming.
Yeah, we see they they span at least 20 years.
Yeah,
from
at least.
2000. From present, obviously.
Yeah.
Dating back to mid 1980, 1986, or
yes.
if not earlier.
Yes. Yes.
There's definitely a crossover between your Nature's Whimsical and your, at the time, no doubt, puzzle series.
Absolutely. And I would say that they were probably my two very strongest, and they were at the very beginning, and then I had taken those two design patterns from myself and created the tree series as well. So, but it stayed as the squares, the circles, and the triangles, which is based in nature, and all of those things really represents, I guess, why I use those three shapes. They're mathematical, they're universal in their symbolism, and out of me came those three shapes, and I still use them today. And
yes, you do.
Continue to do puzzle series, although some of the more recent ones, as you'll see, have taken on a little bit of a different form.
Sure.
And that came out of me as well, but many years later. The first maybe 12, 15, no, maybe even more than that, more like 30 pieces or more, came out with the square, the triangle, and the circle.
Sticking to the subject of symbolism, a very common symbol I find in the pieces is the eye.
Yes.
It may take a different form or shape, but symbolically it's still the eye.
Yes.
What do you see in that symbol?
Well, I go back right to the time I was a little girl, and I didn't like noise around me and a lot of talk or a lot of people, and I loved sitting in a rather quiet place, if not a hidden spot, out in nature, and I would just watch and look and see and feel. And that part of me is so true. And I think that that is what I represented with the eye, was to see, to look, to feel and smell and taste. So the eye for me is so huge.
It's almost like you're making a statement of your presence during the painting.
Yes.
Saying,
yes.
It's almost a signature, almost.
It is.
Saying that I'm here.
Yeah.
When I'm doing this.
Yes, I'm present. Yeah. I'm in the piece. And
you are the piece.
I am the piece, yes, and it's a wonderful, wonderful feeling to be so deeply connected to what I'm doing. I think it's one of the greatest gifts one can, I don't like to say aspire to. You can't force it, you can't push it, you can't control it, you have to allow it.
And it's present in all of us if
yes.
we allow it and give it the time.
That's right.
We were talking last night about time and space, and time being the fourth dimension of space, and when there is no space, say, between the painter and the painting, there is no time.
That's right.
You are in it. You are the painting. And when perhaps you mark an eye onto the board or canvas, it's a statement saying there is no space between me and the canvas.
That's right.
Or the board. There is no time between me and the canvas.
That's right.
This is me. It is me.
Yes. And it's an absolutely profound experience, in my opinion. Being one with something is...
whether it's an apple or a paint.
Yes, it doesn't matter.
It's beauty beyond words.
Yes, absolutely.
And I suppose that's why you're creating it, beauty beyond words cannot be spoke. It has to be illustrated via dance, painting, sculptures, perhaps, music.
Yes.
That supreme, profound connection.
Absolutely. And, you know, it doesn't happen all at once. It can, the being at one with something, but you know, our society is not used to that. It's very outward in what it gets attracted to, whereas I'm very bored with that. There's so much copying that goes on and following, etc. And I feel we're here to be unique and to discover and explore and to be in the moment what our true nature really is about. And that in itself is so exciting. Not in a superficial way at all, the opposite. It brings me incredible peace and love and connectedness, and you know, each line means something on my pieces. If it's not quite within my sensibility, I go over it again and again until it feels like it's speaking to the next piece in the work. And it's all connected. We are all connected. And people say that, but most people, I don't think, really realize what true connection is all about. It's a sacred thing. It is profound, and when I think experiences of the profound take place, there are no words for it, really. It can be misunderstood, misinterpreted so easily. But you know, and if somebody looks at my mosaics, by the way, they were my puzzle pieces, but much later I decided that they truly are my mosaics. And when people look at them, and they'll ask me what that represents for me, but I love to hear what it represents for them. And then we can have a true dialogue about their vision, their sensibilities, as well as mine. And that to me is what true art is all about. It's about sharing, learning, exploring, feeling, and sharing that with people. And each one of us is such an individual if we would find that within ourselves. And it's, I think, the greatest gift that there is. So, I would say I love all the work I've done. I'm connected to it. However, the mosaics, I think, are my deepest love and deepest connection.
They are your life, ranging from, you know, your first experience painting, when the Nature's Whimsical and the mosaic puzzles synergized, to you know, even your latest works. It's interesting how a life can be charted or represented, you know, maybe through a family tree or autobiography, but much more interactive and much more stimulating. And media is, you know, the paintings. And I very much like what you said about, you know, allowing the observer and the creator to share their vision.
Absolutely.
You know, somebody could see something, you could see something different, and neither of them are wrong, neither of them maybe are right.
Exactly.
But, you know, the ability to share.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing your life with us.